Hey, it's Matt Dubiel. I am at Eagle Point Park in Dubuque, Iowa. This is the park where my wife and I got married 10 years ago, and it overlooks the beautiful Mississippi River. And the view, as you can see, is breathtaking. It's amazing. You guys come back over here. And so my kids wanted to come to this park today. Rocco, come over here and sit down.
I was trying to get her.
But the sign on the front of the park, what did the sign say, guys?
It said that it was closed.
It said that it was closed. The sign said closed. It didn't say do not enter, it said the park's closed. Normally they charge you $1 to get into this park so that you can come up here and see the eagles and see the view. And it said it was closed. But even though it said it was closed, the gate was open and you could drive up. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's people walking up there. This park is filled with people. But the sign said it was closed, right?
Yeah.
And so, come sit down. Natalie and my other kids all said, like, Dad, what are you doing? You can't go in there, it says it's closed. And they were very nervous about this. And I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen if we go inside this park, in the entrance that's open, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? What do you think the worst thing that's going to happen is, Natalie?
We're going to fall over the lake.
No, the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to come over and say, the park's closed, you got to leave. Probably. That's probably the worst thing that's going to happen. Yeah, maybe the worst thing that's going to happen is that we could get a fine and they could say, oh, well, the park is closed. But you know what? What happened? We got into the park and there's people everywhere. There's people walking around. This park is not closed, right?
It should say
so the
open.
Worst thing that's going to happen is if we actually don't try and get into the park. The worst thing that would happen is us leaving because we saw a sign that said closed. Somebody else made a rule. There was nothing illegal. It didn't say that, you can't enter the park, do not enter. The doors, the gates were open. You could drive your car up. There's other cars up here. There's other people up here. There just wasn't somebody up there taking the $1 from us. And there was a sign that said park closed. If we would have listened to that sign, we wouldn't be in here and we wouldn't be able to see this view. And we would have missed it. And we would have had to go back and go home, and Mom would have said, did you guys go to Eagle Point Park? And we would have had to say, nah, the sign said it was closed, so we just gave up. But we didn't give up. So the moral of the story is, sometimes the rules aren't the rules. As we learned when we saw people walking around here with their pets and their pedometers, exercising. And sometimes you got to ask yourself, what's the worst? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if I bend this rule? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't? And if we didn't, we would have gone home and we would have missed this beautiful day. And if we, and when we busted through, there was no consequence. Watch now, the parks authority is going to come and track us down because of this video on the internet. But I don't care. Let them come and get me. Take me if you can. Look at this view. Look at this beautiful view. It's a beautiful park. We're probably going to see some eagles.
Yeah,
And what?
If the instructions don't see us and know that we're here, then they won't know that we're here, and they won't know that it's a secret.
Well, it's not a secret. We're not doing anything wrong. Although it's funny, I just heard sirens. But I think that is from the Coast Guard down there. They have a dam. I don't know if you can see it very well, but they have a dam. They're certainly not sending, somebody with sirens up to keep us out of the park.
Dad, remember?
So, MattDubiel.com, thanks for stopping by. And my message to you today is, what's the worst thing that can happen?
I'm going back.
And if you're prepared for the worst, hope for the best and make something happen. And you might get a great day at a park with your kids.
Oh, signs everywhere, a sign blocking up the scenery.